We've had a full day to process the new Mulan, and we are going to give you our spoiler-filled review of Mulan on Disney+.
Jessica, I'm going to sing it.
Kyle, stop.
I'm going to do it.
Kyle, don't sing.
Seriously.
Oh my gosh, stop singing.
Welcome back to Eye to Eye, Disney Through Our Eyes. This is our Disney Variety channel. My name is Kyle.
And I'm Jessica. And before we get started, if you don't mind, go ahead and subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
So we're going to give you our spoiler-filled thoughts of Mulan on Disney Plus right now. So again, spoiler warning, get out of here now unless you want to be spoiled about what happens in this movie. Now, if you've seen Mulan, the animated version, it's a lot of the same.
Don't worry, you know nothing about this movie.
No, that's not true.
You know some of the plot, but not a ton.
You don't know like intricate details that they've changed. If you don't want to be spoiled on that, like for instance, if you're not going to spend the $29.99 on Premier Access on Disney Plus to watch it now, and you don't want to be spoiled, leave. Get out of here. Go. Nobody wants you here. I'm kidding. We want you here if you want to watch. Other thing that we want to bring up is just so as everyone's aware, as you can tell in our accents, we're good old Southern people and we can't pronounce things. So there's going to be some moments here where we're trying to pronounce some names from China and we're going to butcher them. We've practiced a lot, but we're just not good at those sorts of things.
No.
So just know that none of that's intended in offense, but we're just trying our best to pronounce some names that are a little bit difficult for our little Southern brains to handle at points like that. At least mine. I can't speak for Jessica on this one. All right, Mulan. Spoiler-filled thoughts, Jessica. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
It was different. So my first thought was, so Mulan, I guess, was like chosen to be a warrior because of her internal spirit.
Her chi.
Her chi. They talked about her spirit and her chi. Her dad did about her father. Sounds better, not her dad. But either way, her father talked about how she was a warrior and her spirit was that of a warrior.
From the very beginning, too.
Literally the beginning. And I didn't remember that from the other movie. But also I want to point out that I don't want to compare this the whole time to the original Mulan.
It's a great
point. Because
it
is so different.
That's a great point. So let's address that right there before we get more into the whole chi aspect of this. They say this like the first line of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It says, there are many tales about Mulan, and this is mine, the narrator says. And I like that, because I think what it does there is acknowledge that the story that you might know of Mulan from the Disney version, that is your story, and we're not taking away from that, but this is my story about her tale, her legend. And so I think now they kind of makes that coexist. So when they said that at the beginning, I was like, okay, I can settle down for a little bit knowing some of the changes that are happening this one and not be too upset with that. So also with the chi aspect thing too, it's a little weird, I'm going to be honest.
It was hard to get a grasp on until...
It was a little quick to bring it in.
It was. But then once she went to war and once she started doing all of the... I guess like the martial arts
acrobats moves. And just it almost like she moved in slow motion and could process things a lot quicker than everybody.
It was literally, and when she was like dodging arrows and stuff like that, it's like, okay, she actually has something different about her than the other warriors. Yeah,
and I think obviously with this being a legend in the Chinese culture, there's obviously going to be some larger than life things built around the story of Mulan. And I think this kind of plays off of that. This is somebody's version of her story, so they're going to use the concept of chi, which is in Chinese culture, to not embellish, but to enhance the story a little bit and make it a little bit more of, I won't say believable, but like more like fantastical and more legendary. We've got those. I mean, we've got Paul Bunyan. There's not some giant man wandering around.
I believed it.
I probably did it. And a big blue ox and things like that. But anyway, so the chi thing was a little bit weird, and I think that's how we need to handle our review here. Is
I don't know,
all the
weird, but just different. So the other thing that I thought was
wasn't ready for the whole chi thing at the beginning, because I knew there were changes coming. It just was like, ooh.
So what about the Phoenix? So even very early on, you see in the movie that her father is talking about the Phoenix, and that is something that that protects their family and protects them. And when she goes off to battle, she kind of gets lost for a little bit with her horse. She's trying to find where to go. And all of a sudden, this Phoenix appears. So my take on it is that the Phoenix didn't actually exist.
That's how I interpret it. So first off, let's address this right here. There's no Mushu in this one, clearly. we think that obviously they took the concept of Mushu and used the Phoenix for it because Mushu was her guardian, and this, in a way, was her new
just
guardian.
not a comical guardian. But
I don't think it was actually there. I think, again, much like a legend or our version of this new story for Mulan, this was just kind of a concept that was built in there. She thought she was seeing it and protected.
It was like another spirit, I guess, that just, it always appeared when she was in trouble. There was a time when she was fighting the witch.
Yep.
And the Phoenix appeared at the very end of the Phoenix appeared. Yeah. So every time she was literally in trouble, here comes this Phoenix to rescue her.
Right.
And she just follows the Phoenix and she gets out. So I guess in some ways we can all like wish we had that Phoenix. Like, help me out of this difficult situation.
Here's my one critique of that. I was fine with the cons. I was not fine with them leaving Mushu out, but like at the same time, if you're going to do something different, that's fine if you want to do something a little bit more traditional to Chinese culture. I wish they had not shown the Phoenix at all, meaning like just a shadow. I thought what was beautifully done at the end of the film when she's looking into the sword reflection and you see it floating behind. Yeah. I wish that that's all we ever saw of it. It was just kind of, if they played a certain tone when the presence was there, you saw shadows. I think seeing the Phoenix, especially as often as they showed us, took me out of the movie.
It did, because it didn't quite fit with the tone of the rest of the movie.
Right.
But
because everything was so real, so realistic, but aside from the
and
chi
then here comes this beautifully done rainbow Phoenix, and
well, the fact that you're calling a bird beautiful, Jessica,
because it's fake. It's not a real bird.
And then how about when the witch turned into the flock of birds?
Okay, so that was my nightmare when the witch turned into like billions of birds. Oh my gosh! And then it happened like multiple times. I remember in the fight scene when the birds are attacking all the soldiers, and then the fire bombs are going.
It was like Jessica's worst nightmare. Fire, birds everywhere.
I just would have I would be a terrible soldier in that situation because I would have just moved out of formation and been like, take me now. I can't handle this.
Well, you'd be a terrible soldier for many other
multiple reasons.
You are great at many things, honey, but being a soldier, I just don't see it.
Being brave is not one of them.
You are brave.
Ironically, is on her sword.
On her sword, and that's the virtues that they display throughout this are loyal, brave, and true. And so she doesn't have a hard time with loyal because she's loyal to her family and loyal to her country. She's brave, clearly.
Extremely brave.
But the whole true aspect in her concealing her identity and trying to keep that a secret. She felt
like a liar.
And so she didn't feel like she could fulfill those virtues. But when she finally does in the movie, that's when... It did
not go well for her.
Well, when she finally does, it didn't go well in society terms, but she became her full potential as a warrior.
But remember, they said you're going to be exiled.
Yep. And
that would have brought dishonor to her family. And the whole thing was bring honor to us.
Yes.
Not dishonor. And so... What'd she say? She would rather be...
I would rather be killed than face the shame that would come from this.
Well, obviously that didn't happen, but...
Right, and we all knew that wasn't going to happen at the same point. But what you saw was the addition of the character of the witch, and she's almost a foil, the opposite of what happened to Mulan. She was this different person, had these extraordinary gifts and abilities. And because she was a woman, too, she was outcast because of all that and so considered a witch. It was interesting to see that done. What did you think about her character?
So, again, this was a character that really, to me, you could have left out. So, and I know that sounds weird because she did have some major parts. But honestly, we already had, remind me of his name, Bori Khan.
It was Shan Yu's version of Shan Yu was in the animated one. This is more in line with the times and names and stuff.
So we already had Bori Khan, who was the villain. We didn't need the witch. There's really, the only thing that she brought to the story was that she encouraged Mulan to find her warrior self.
Yeah, and then she has like a turn at the end.
Which is important, but it just felt very forced.
Right.
Like, it felt like... I don't know. It just didn't feel like it fit the story, and then it just felt very forced. That's all I can think to say is because every time that the witch would embody somebody else, you knew it was coming, and it just wasn't as villainous as Bori Khan was. To me, he was a much more terrifying villain than she ever could have been.
So let's talk about Bori Khan then as the villain. This is essentially Shan Yu again, just a different name, more in line with what was going on in this time period. And I think that specific name was associated with some other groups of people in that time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it was like Roran, or was the type of like country or group of people they came from, instead of Huns. So that was a different one. In fact, I did some research last night. If I'm correct, the Huns actually were in like Eastern Europe and not China. And so it's kind of weird why they chose that in the original Disney version to use that. So that's another big difference there. Is name changes, people group changes. They really tried their hardest to make this very as close to the real thing as possible. And I think a lot of it did work. My question though is, Jess, would we view this movie differently if there had never been an animated Mulan? And would we view it as
I don't think we would accept it as easily. It doesn't seem believable.
It's not a Disney
movie. It just doesn't seem like a believable thing. So I'll give it that this was more believable than the original Mulan because
there's no talking dragon in it.
Besides that, but I'm just thinking, like, if Mulan's going off to war, she's not going to do that whole like be a man thing, cut off your hair, and do all of these things.
You're bringing things up right now.
You're genuinely going to run in the middle of the night, like she did in this movie, steal your horse and your father's sword, and just go. Otherwise, he's going to go off to war, and as her mom said, he will die.
Let's talk about two of the things I think that everybody's disappointed were not in this.
Mushu.
Mushu's the big one. How did you handle not having Mushu in there?
You're going to hate my answer?
No, don't you say it. Don't you say it on camera. Are you really about to say this?
I didn't miss him.
All right, that's it. Dishonor. Dishonor on your whole family. Make a note of this. Dishonor on you. Dishonor on your cow.
I can't.
This movie, listen.
I can't.
This movie did not call for comic relief.
I think it needed a little bit more of it.
No, I don't. I think this was a very serious movie. It was more about the different aspects of the Chinese culture and the different aspects of this war. And it just, you didn't need comedy. It would have ruined this.
Maybe in a sense, but this is again the difference between trying to be as honorable as you can be to the Chinese audience and trying to find a balance for the American audience. And I think you can clearly see there was a sway more towards the Chinese audience, honoring their heritage and their audience, which I think is great. But I do think that, there could have been a balance to strike somewhere in there.
So I think this is what we're missing.
Okay.
I think we keep thinking of this as a remake. We talked about this in our 3 reasons to watch Mulan.
It is a remake.
It is a remake, but it's a remake. It's not. That's exactly what it is. It's not like Lion King and Beauty and the Beast, where it's literally just real characters instead of cartoons and maybe a few extra songs. No, this is actually a redo of the whole story, and there's parts of it that are the same, but there's so much that's different. That's why I don't miss Mushu, because to me, he would not have fit in this story at all.
Can we talk about something I think we will agree on?
Yes.
The lack of music in it.
Yeah.
Again, I think musical numbers would take away from the authenticity of trying to tell this story through the eyes of the Chinese culture. However, the fact that I didn't get to belt out "Be a Man" or
it would not have fit. This is not a musical,
but there's
and
such
I feel
great
like they
songs,
did
reflection.
a really great job of having like the flute or the trumpet in the background.
That was good,
it was just very minimal. I liked all of those things, but I don't want this to be a musical song and dance thing like Beauty and the Beast is.
What I do love about this movie, and I think we said this in our 3 reasons to watch. But by the way, if you haven't seen that, go back and check that out. That's spoiler free for any of those. I know if you're here, you're okay with spoilers.
You're here,
but if you want to check that out, it's kind of quick thoughts over there. I really love how they tried their hardest to insert things in from the original, whether that be melodies, "Be a Man," "Reflection," "Girl Worth Fighting For," those type of songs.
That was really good.
Where they had certain poses that, like the Mulan pose where she flips the sword in and then points it at Shan Yu. I'm doing this on camera. I don't know why.
That's pretty impressive, actually.
Like, it was verbatim, that pose. There were exact phrases. There were characters like Chin Po, Ling, and Yao who were in this one but took a little bit of a back seat. And they were still there, though, and changing around of characters and additions. But there was a lot to honor the American version of this story with the Chinese culture. So, like, while I'm struggling with it, I understand it and I accept it, and it doesn't take away from the fact that I think it's a great film at the same time. Anything else that we're missing out of all this?
Favorite character.
Oh, favorite character. All right, so your favorite main character.
Mulan. Can you go with
anybody else? Can you be any more boring than that?
I love being boring, so Mulan.
Why, though? Like,
she was a warrior. She is everything that I am not. And I love it. She was loyal, brave, and finally true.
And then the final virtue of family. That's got you written all over it.
Yeah, so I am familial.
Familial?
Would that be a word?
Yes, that is a word that you can use.
And I'm true, but I'm not brave.
True.
And I am loyal.
You are truly interesting, I will say.
But I'm not brave.
You're brave in some other senses.
I would be like the sister who was scared of the spider.
Yeah, that was a funny one too. Another little small addition to that. My favorite main character would be Boricon. I am a huge fan of the villains.
Yeah.
And I thought that the fact that they gave him a little bit more of a backstory, a reason to invade China, because the Emperor, played by Jet Li, killed his father. And so it gave, in the other one, it's just Shan Yu's just invading. It's like, well, I guess I just want to invade China. But now we've got a reason for it to happen. So that gives you a little bit like, now I know why you want the thing that you want. That's what makes him the better character in this one. So your favorite minor character? Are you rethinking now?
I think I am, but I'm going to go with the sister.
The sister?
I do think she was really funny, especially with the spider. And
because you related to her? I
did. And she welcomed Mulan back really warmly when she first came back from war. So I just really liked her.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that they included this because it grounded her more and gave her more of a reason to be the way that she is as a protector. Yeah. Because she has this younger sister and you saw that trying to protect her from the spider, which was a very funny scene in itself. Sure. I could see you panicking me trying to cover the spider up for you. My favorite minor character would be Huazu, her father. I think he, again, was a very crucial element of the animated version. And that beautiful, beautiful scene at the end, the greatest gift and honor is having you for a daughter. I was hoping they were going to do that verbatim. They just like in The Lion King, they did it a different way, like the Mufasa scene that I wanted them to recreate verbatim. They didn't, but they still made it very beautiful and just as powerful, the love for a father to his daughter and displaying that you are more important than honor to me. And I think that's... And
more important than the sword.
Exactly.
That got lost.
Yeah, because she was mortified that wasn't going to be
Well, she was just so sad. Yeah.
Well, because she understood what it meant to him at that point. And to have that reconciliation with each other, to understand each other, and to know that they love each other more than a sword, more than honor. Great message at the end of this film. So we really liked it. We hope you have watched it and enjoyed it as well. Whether you're watching this at Premiere Access or you're watching
waiting till December.
3 months in the future. We hope that you're going to share your thoughts down in the comment section below with us. We'd love to hear from you there as well. What else should they do?
If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our content.
And that's all we have for you in this edition of Eye to Eye. But until we assemble again,
may the Force be with you.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye.